My brother vanished years ago, but when he came back, I realized it wasn't really him. When I was 12 years old, my brother Daniel disappeared. One moment, he was riding his bike down the street, the summer sun burning orange over the rooftops, and the next, he was gone. No one saw what happened. No one heard a scream. His bike was later found leaning against the rusted fence at the edge of Miller's Woods, but Daniel himself had vanished into thin air. My parents searched every inch of town, begging the police to do more, but weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. The posters faded, the neighbors stopped asking questions, and eventually, my family became just another sad story whispered about in the community. But for me, the pain never dulled. Every birthday candle I blew out, every holiday dinner with an empty chair was a reminder that my big brother wasn't there. He was the one who used to protect me from nightmares, who'd sneak candy into my room when I was upset, who swore he'd always have my back. And then, he was just gone. 15 years later, when I was 27, he came back. I remember the night clearly. I was visiting my parents for dinner when the doorbell rang. My mom opened the door and dropped the casserole dish in her hands. Standing there, gaunt and pale but unmistakably him, was Daniel. My father froze, his eyes wide as though he were staring at a ghost. My mother crumpled to the floor, sobbing his name over and over like a prayer. And me? My heart leapt, then stuttered. Because while it was Daniel standing there, smiling faintly as though he'd been gone only a day, something inside me whispered that it wasn't him. He hugged my mother tightly, his arms trembling, and said, "I'm home. I'm sorry I took so long." My father clutched his shoulders, tears streaking down his face. They ushered him in, overwhelmed with joy, unable to see what I saw, the sharpness in his eyes. The way his smile didn't quite match the one burned into my childhood memories. At first, I tried to tell myself it was trauma. He'd been missing for 15 years. Of course he'd changed. His hair was thinner, his voice deeper, his body leaner. But it wasn't just physical. It was the way he remembered things wrong. He talked about a family trip to the beach where we'd all built a sandcastle. But that never happened. We couldn't afford vacations. He laughed about my 16th birthday party, but I'd spent that birthday crying alone in my room because no one showed up. He mentioned our childhood dog, Charlie, but our dog's name had been Max. When I corrected him, he'd just chuckle, pat my hand, and say, "Memories get fuzzy sometimes." Maybe. But not like that. Not everything. And then there were his habits. Daniel used to hate peanut butter so much he'd gag if he smelled it. Now I caught him eating spoonfuls straight from the jar. He was right-handed growing up, but now he wrote with his left. He'd always slept curled on his side, but I found him stretched out flat on his back, eyes flickering beneath his lids as though he were watching something in his dreams. The unease grew heavier every day. My parents refused to acknowledge anything was wrong. They were too blinded by relief, too desperate to believe their son had come back after all those years. But at night, when I couldn't sleep, I'd find him wandering the house, running his fingers over the photos on the walls, whispering to himself. Once I caught him standing outside my bedroom door in the dark. His face was blank, but when I whispered his name, he smiled too quickly and said, "Just checking to make sure you're still here. I can't lose you too." Then he walked away before I could answer. The breaking point came when I found his journal. He kept it hidden under the floorboard of the room he'd reclaimed. At first, I thought it was a trauma diary, maybe his way of processing whatever had happened while he was gone. But as I read through it, my blood turned to ice. The pages were filled with detailed notes about my family. My mother's daily routine, when she woke up, how long she spent in the garden, her favorite TV shows. My father's schedule, what time he left for work, when he came home, the route he drove. And me, pages upon pages about me. My habits, my job, my friends, even things I thought no one knew. Like the time I stole money from Dad's wallet as a kid, or the fact that I cried myself to sleep before college exams. But the worst part was the phrases sprinkled in between the notes. Words written in sharp, uneven handwriting that didn't belong to my brother. The real one is gone. They'll never know. I'm perfect now. I slammed the journal shut, my hands trembling. My chest felt like it was caving in. Whoever this was, he wasn't my brother. He was something else. Something wearing his face. That night, I confronted him. I waited until my parents were asleep, then cornered him in the kitchen. His smile spread too wide when he saw the journal in my hands. "You shouldn't have read that," he said calmly, like I'd peeked at a diary instead of uncovered something monstrous. "What are you?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "Because you're not Daniel." He tilted his head, eyes glinting with amusement. "Does it matter? I'm here now. I make them happy. I keep you safe. Isn't that enough?" My throat went dry. "Where is my real brother?" His smile faltered just for a moment. Then he leaned closer, his whisper colder than ice. "Gone. He's been gone a long time. But I know everything about him. I know everything about you. I'm better than he ever was." I stumbled back, clutching the journal like a shield. He didn't move. He just watched me, unblinking, as I fled upstairs and locked myself in my room. Since then, I've been living in quiet terror. My parents don't see it. They laugh with him, hug him, cook his favorite meals. They don't notice the way his eyes follow me, the way his smile twitches when I avoid him, the way he lingers in doorways as though he's waiting for me to slip. But I know the truth. The boy who disappeared 15 years ago never came back. Something else did. Something that's learning, adapting, becoming more perfect every day. And the scariest part? My parents may never realize the difference, because maybe, just maybe, it isn't just wearing Daniel's face. Maybe, piece by piece, it's becoming him.